Hello there, this is Critical from Cridical Media. Just taking a look at Censor. This is a book once again from Junji. As you can see, I'm kind of a fan. I'm at least starting to grow on it. I loved Uzumaki. I read Remina earlier this year, and this guy just actually came out in August of 2021. The book itself, though, came out originally, I believe, under Asahi Shimbun in like 2019. But it just recently got translated once again by Viz Media, and it just released in 2021. Now, just a quick little overview of the physical book itself, as well as maybe just a few plot points and some previews of some pages. So the book itself is actually pretty well crafted. Unlike Remina and, of course, Uzumaki, where they're all hardbound and there's no dust jacket, this is actually just the finish of these books. This book actually does have a dust jacket on it. And it's a beautiful setup, as usual, showing off Ito's excellent line work. And man, this man in hair, I swear. He's like, that's his gift in life. A nice little front and back. But it is, in fact, a dust jacket. So let's pop that off. And you can see it's pretty much hard bound. And when you feel it this way, it's almost a similar likeness to Remina, where sure, this is glossy, but the binding is actually more matted. So a very good solid copy. You do see it has a felt fabric lining, and it does help the eye quite considerably. So it does help it bend, as you can see. I haven't really worn out this book too much, like I haven't prepped it too much, but then again, there's no loss whatsoever. There are almost no double page spreads in this. There might be one or two, but not many. And go figure, yet another page showing off his line work. So anywho, very solid copy. It's about 230 pages, so you'll blow right through this. Very similar to Remina, where unlike Remina, where the pacing is so well done, like that's how you do it. Like you turn the page, it's just constantly moving the story forward. There are times in this book where repetition, unfortunately, occurs, and there's a bit of over exposition, but doesn't really harp too much on the story. Now, it is kind of a practical and at the same time esoteric story, in that in the beginning it's very easy to follow because everything's more tactile. But near the end of the story, you do, once again, suspend the beliefs, and it does take range toward interpretation, hence the esoteric aspect. In a nutshell, what is the story about? Well, Censor. I don't believe actually that's even the original title, but Censor, what it refers to is people's heightened senses overall. So their ability to feel others, to be able to understand the universe and all that jazz, the communications and the relationships between people. So that pretty much extends in this metaphor of a volcano. So a girl, Kyoko, she very similar to Uzumaki, just discovers this village. She's drawn to it. And then when she goes there, there's a sense of familiarity, and all the villagers seem to welcome her. But all the villagers seem to have these like heightened senses. Like they walk around with their eyes closed, but they communicate with each other in a very silent way. And yeah, they can just navigate their town without their eyes open or anything. Like their senses are so heightened, they're very well aware of their surroundings, as well as, once again, like the emotions of others. So they can sense that with this girl Kyoko, yep, she's I guess a patron of theirs. Nonetheless, an event happens where there's an eruption near the volcano. I believe it's the Sengoku. And it turns out there's a lot of lore and history with this land. A missionary from the 1600s. This is back, I believe, when, unfortunately, in the Edo period, the Christian faith was being persecuted. They just wanted more of a Buddhist aspect, but that's more of a historical point. The idea is, though, that gives you the history of their land. And a missionary priest was, Unfortunately, he was killed in the volcano along with all the followers. But when this happened, when the mountain erupted recently after, a lot of golden hair, so to speak, which is more like lava strains, basically volcanic hair, it spewed out. And instead of thick and more, crumbly hard hairs, more golden, silky hairs, and just blanketed the land, and also blanketed its people, which gave the people their heightened senses. Now, this happens once again when the girl Kyoko visits the village. This event, it's basically set like 60 years after the last eruption. Anywho, after all that, when a new eruption occurs, she herself is given powers, so to speak. But unlike the other villagers, she herself ends up with golden hair completely. So we'll display some of those here, just to give you that idea. There you go. So like the mountain erupts, she ends up in a golden cocoon, so to speak. And when she emerges, she has excellent golden hair here. Once again, Ito, G's and H's. This man, like all day. Anywho, because she ends up kind of reaching this kind of, what's the word, almost prophet-like status, she's more of like a mystical character, though, after that. Like, people hear about her, but they don't know if she's real or not. Enter the next protagonist of the story, Wataru. He's like a freelance reporter, and essentially he's going around investigating her after, just seeing some weird event while he was flying into Japan. Anywho, he kind of becomes not so much enamored with her, but with this little lore and history of the area. And he through his investigations, he encounters, cults that are followers of this, of course, this sect. So there's the good side, the bad side of things, unfortunately. But beyond that, though, I would say in terms of pacing, it's not as good as Remina. As I said, it does suffer from repetition. The art is phenomenal as usual. Just another page of this man's incredible work. That's Wataru, by the way. And it is a pretty much a pretty compelling story. I would go as far as to say it's a 8 out of 10 if I had to give it a grade. But I guess it doesn't really give off too much of a horror aspect, but rather it lends itself more to like a hopeful aspect. And once again, another page showing off the hair. But it tackles a lot of themes, like themes of like suicide, themes of faith, although it doesn't try to bog you down with it. Like, Ito will mention it, but not too much, like harp on it too much. There is a certain point of this story where you really do kind of have to lend yourself out to the fantasy aspect of it. But otherwise, and you do have to expect, sometimes there's going to be parts of it where there's just things that are unexplained. But all in all, I would say it's a pretty good package. There's not much in terms of, material after the book. Although there's a very candid afterword by Ito, where he fully says that when he started the story, he had no idea where it was going to land. He actually ended up changing the main protagonist. So Kyoko was the main protagonist. But when he realized what she represented, he had to create another, hence the reporter. And the reporter's genius because a reporter, by definition, exposes material. So therefore, he is the vehicle of exposition. But you still like him. All in all, it's a good package. I will kind of show off one little thing here. The dust jacket, earlier. Pretty good, but it actually has some decent internal work, if you take a look here. So, and thankfully, what I love about Ito's work is he really only includes characters, only maybe 5, less than 10 major characters you need to know. This literally shows every single character you need to know. Okay? And I love that. He's so direct with his storytelling. Very blunt. I would say it has a cross of Uzumaki in it. Because, yeah, hair is once again a focus. This constant theme throughout it. But overall, it is a damn good book. I would definitely recommend it. But let me know what you think. Just leave some comments down below. And, hey, I'll see you in the next video.